Hello, let's talk about how to trace code like this, where you have if statements nested inside other if statements, and you have if-else chains and so on. So the main thing is making sure your code is indented properly and being able to see the blocks of code that are inside particular if statements. So here's how my eye sees it. I see if b is smaller than c. Oh, and by the way, we're assuming that a, b, and c here are numerical variables, doubles or ints. Okay, so if b is less than c, then I see an opening curly brace here, and if I go straight down from the I see the closing curly brace. So everything in between are all the lines of code that will execute if b is smaller than c. And then same thing here. Else means otherwise. So otherwise, if b wasn't smaller than c, then I check if b is smaller than a. And if that's true, then I'll run all the code here. Otherwise, if neither of those two things were true, I'll run this line of code. So only one of these three things is going to happen. So this is like option 1, option 2, option 3. And this is true of any if-else chain. As soon as one of these if statements is true, you'd execute the block that's inside the curly braces, and then you're done. You don't ever visit the other else's, because the else means that you only check it if the original if statement wasn't true. So let's look at some examples. Oh, and so then the only thing that makes this tricky is because these are, excuse me, because these are nested. Like once you've entered a block, now the same thing might happen. So here, I know that if I'm inside this block of code, I know that b must be smaller than c. And so I'm going to print b no matter what, and I'm going to print e no matter what down here. But then I have to check if a is not equal to c, then I'll do this one. Otherwise, I'll do that one. So let me show you an actual example where you trace through it with some numbers. So let's say that a is 3 and b is 1. Let's get those on the screen. So a is 3, b is 1, and c is 3. Okay, so and then let's put down here what we're actually going to display. So this is the console down here. So we print a no matter what at the beginning. Then we ask, is b smaller than c? Well, 1 is smaller than 3, so the answer is yes. So this evaluates to true. So now we enter this block of code, which means that we're not going to run either of these later. Okay, so now we print b. And now we ask, is it true that a is not equal to c? No, a is equal to c. So it's not true that a doesn't equal c. So because this evaluates to false, we don't print c. Instead, we go down here to the else, and we evaluate the else, which is d. And now that's done, and so we just keep going, and we get to e. And now that's done, and so now we're at the end of the original if statement that we were in, and so now we're just done. So that's what it should display, A, B, D, E. Let's do another one. Let's take a look and see what happens if A, B, and C are all equal to 1. So if they're all equal to 1, we print A no matter what. And then we ask, is it true that B is smaller than C? And the answer is no, because A is equal to C. So that means we skip this entire block, because you'd only evaluate this if the if statement evaluated to true. So then we say, okay, otherwise, if B is smaller than A. But that's not true either, because they're equal. And so this evaluates to false, and so we don't run this entire block of code, so we skip all the way down to the closing brace here. And then we have an else, which means otherwise. So we'd say otherwise, if this wasn't true and this wasn't true, then we just print k. So when all three values are the same here, we're just printing a and k.